Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back for Game 2 of Hehe versus Vega in the JDL4 playoffs. We are looking for one team who will be continuing in the Premier Division when it goes to Season 5. And that is quite a significant deal because obviously MLG is sponsoring Season 5 and there's going to be bigger prizes, bigger prestige, and more going on. So very, very important game for both of these teams. Winner will go on to play X game, and Hehe are one game ahead in this best of 3 with a fairly decisive right-click lineup in the previous game. We had Troll, we had Io, and we had Drow. And it was the first game in the... This is now the 4th that I've been casting for Hehe recently, and it was the first game where they were able to pick up their Io. And Vega, I think, have learnt from their mistakes and banned that first. So Hehe grabbed the Juggernaut, banned out the Brewmaster and the Troll. Vega banned out Io and Viper, picked up the Dazzle. Interesting choice there. He's a great hero, I think. But the lack of really hard CC means you either need to be going for a definite combo in mind with the anti-armor or a definite combo in mind with the Shallow Grave. So, for example, we could be seeing a Huskar pickup. I've also been interested in the potential of Oracle Huskar, but that's for another time. And they pick up the Tidehunter as the second pick in the first phase, and I love it when teams pick up Tidehunter. I will say this every time I see it. It does not matter what the metagame is, Tidehunter will always be useful. And what I mean by that is, like, Juggernaut, great right click, great push, huge in the metagame right now, although no one seems to be able to agree on how exactly he should be built. But next patch, if they reduce the damage of Omni Slash or the heal on Healing Ward, or made it, I think it's a percentage-based heal at the moment, correct? Yeah, it's a percentage-based heal. If they made it a flat heal, something like that, Juggernaut wouldn't be great anymore. But Tidehunter with Ravage will always be relevant. Hehe also picking up the Vengeful Spirit, stealing that off Vega, who picked it up in the previous game. I think they can do some decent things with that. Certainly the damage aura in combined with Juggernaut's crit has a potential for huge damage. I don't know. My one concern with Juggernaut is if you get a couple of stuns that can go through a BKB on the other team, Juggernaut to me offers very, very little. He's too squishy. Omni Slash doesn't do quite enough damage, I feel, unless it's in the perfect circumstances. Just not maybe the best option you could go for. But I'm sure Hehe have got something up their sleeve, and I suspect it's going to involve that healing ward and the push that they can get out of that. Vega Squadron banning out the Puck and the Legion Commander, obviously not liking the idea of kind of high mobility, sudden initiation on a single hero, and that makes me think that they've picked up this Dazzle with the intention of picking up a very late scaling but very hard farming carry. Someone that's going to need a little bit of babysitting and would be kind of vulnerable to those blink duels which Legion could bring out in the early game. Hehe, on the other hand, banning out the Witch Doctor and the Axe. I think the Witch Doctor is mainly a respect ban for the hero. Very, very powerful in the metagame right now, and that physical damage ult really just seeming to change games when it does manage to go off right. Axe ban. Axe can certainly mess with Juggernaut in lane. That, I think, is probably the rationale behind that. The healing ward doesn't really do enough to stop Axe just getting behind your lines and messing with your shit. Vega Squadron taking quite a bit of time on this last pickup, cutting into reserve time now by about 20-30 seconds, and as such making it kind of difficult to cast them as they're not doing anything, but I'm sure they will shortly. Now, what massive combos am I missing here so far? We've got a nice anti-armor combination coming out from Vega with the Weave of Dazzle and Tidehunter's Anchor Smash as well. Is it the Anchor Smash? Wait, no, it's the Gush. So I always get those two confused and forget which one has the armor. And now we see a decent bit of right click coming out from Tusk. It's a ballsy play. There was a period when they changed Snowball where Tusk was everywhere, and you'd see these hard melee, often with Dazzle in support teams, where the idea behind it was you'd get the melees as grouped up as possible. The kind of melees who struggle to just get in range. They'd ball up in the Snowball, they'd go in, often with something like Ravage to support it, pop the Ravage, and then pop the Dazzle heal, because you've got so many heroes grouped up around the enemy that the Dazzle healing wave will bounce around and do huge damage to the enemy team. Now, there's quite a few ways. It's a little bit tricky. Hehe could deal with that by getting decent amounts of lockdown. They could get highly nimble heroes who are able to get out of the way if that comes down. I think Juggernaut's Omni Slash is actually very, very useful in those kind of situations, because it kind of means that Vega are intending on initiating beyond their own creep wave, and once they pop out of that Snowball, Juggernaut can quite easily get a 2-3 man Omni Slash. Also choosing to go for the Shadow Fiend. this is a kind of deterrent play, and it's really nicely thought out. If the initiation goes down on Shadow Fiend and kills him, all of those Vega Squadron heroes will be grouped up around Shadow Fiend when his ult goes off, and that's huge, huge damage. But the potential scaling on Shadow Fiend's ult is just abysmally high. To make up for the fact that it is so hard to land, but it's very easy to land if you've just been snowballed. Vega choosing to go for the Luna next, and you can see how what they're building up now is a combination of ults, which if they can get them all within range with the snowball, will just be absolutely devastating. You pop the Ravage, you pop the Sanity, you pop the Eclipse, and then you just start going to town and right-clicking people. The anti-armor from Dazzler is going to be kind of useful for the Glaives, but I don't think that's what they're going for. The Shallow Grave is certainly nice when you're doing this kind of face rush strat, but also the damage that they'll get out of the wave. Hehe going for Chen. It's a quite a nice call. The other option they can choose to do with this is just a really nice split push team, one that basically just evades Vega Squadron's attempt to just constantly group up and fight as five. And certainly if there's a Chen push going down one lane and a Juggernaut push going down the other lane with a Vengeful in support and the Healing Ward, Vega Squadron, they're either going to have to commit 5 to one lane and start losing towers, or split up and run the risk of initiating with kind of 2 or 3 people with the Tusk Snowball and biting off a little bit more than they can chew and finding themselves out of position. So, very interesting game in the making here, I will say that. He banning out the Storm Spirit, seeing the Tusk in support then, and they're absolutely right to see so. Tusk or Tidehunter anyway. My anticipation is it's probably going to be a Tusk support, since I'm pretty sure they're just picking up him for the utility anyway, that they can get off of Snowball. The Clinks pick up as well, great right-click damage. The Broodmother pick up for Hehe, love it, love it. We're going to have a fun game, guaranteed now. It's a little bit risky to me, going up against Glaives and an Anchor Smash. That's exactly the kind of right-click with very low or no mana cost, which will just tear through Broodmother, make it very difficult for her to do her thing. And also, Brood's great at getting very sudden kills, where you suddenly jump in and you're suddenly killing someone. She doesn't want to get caught out in a fight for a long time, and Shallow Grave could make that a little bit tricky. I expect we're going to be seeing a dual safe lane Juggernaut Venge from Hehe, off lane Brood, jungle Chen, mid Shadow Fiend. For Vega Squadron, it's a little bit harder to call. It will be Tide off lane, and then let's say Clinks mid and the other 3 in a safe lane with Luna as the carry. Taking a long time to load in, and as the players don't. Oh, interesting. We've had a problem called with remake fast. Some argument about the Brood there. I'm wondering if it's worth just wait, what? Okay, strange GG called briefly, but I think it was just a joke. We're getting a quick remake on the lobbies here, and we'll be right back in. So we've already got the draft. I'm assuming this will be an AP, and we'll be right into the game. A little bit weird there. I'm not actually sure entirely what happened. I think there might have been an accidentally randomized pick or something, but that would just mean someone ran out of time, which wouldn't generally involve a remake. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Let me just check that they're going to change this to AP, as it is currently still set to Captain's mode. Yep, cool. Picking is hard. That it is. That it is. ARDM, let's do it. Let's do it. This is why I like Hehe. That's awesome. I'm just looking over at the 2-minute delay on the stream. Right now, you guys are thinking that we're about to start a game. You're thinking that we're going to be able to go. The call comes out for ARDM with super creeps and cheats on. I'd watch that. I'd watch that in an instant. Oh, the lols we have in Dota. Level up 25. Hit AP and go! Wow. Okay, so it seems like the Broodmother pick. Much as I said I was a bit skeptical, but I do love just watching Broodmother games. But let me see. They had wanted to go for Earth Spirit. Vega asking to just go with. I think they're just going to go with the Brood. Possibly Oracle. Much strangeness. This is at least a chance for everybody watching on stream to see just how seriously professional players take the game. You can tell they're all taking this hugely seriously, not making any funny comments at all. Just go, just go, just go. I think that the problem seems to be Hua's last pick for the Hehe squad, but I don't think they're really contesting it. They're happy to go with whatever. So we'll be moving into game 2 right the very now. Let's just hope everyone loads in. And they do. And we have the picks coming out. Hua do go for the Broodmother. Hua? Hehe, sorry. What? Phoenix? Maybe I misunderstood some of the chat, but Phoenix? Where did that come from? That combos beautifully well with the Tusk. What did they trade out for that? What was it? It was their final pick, which was... can't remember, but whatever. They're going Phoenix. That combos insanely well with the Tusk Tidehunter Luna combo. It will do horrific things to the Broodmother. I'm not sure what's going on here, so I'm just going to keep quiet. But this seems strange. I wish I knew what was going on. We got around 20 seconds. Quick look at the log. What? 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 Okay, I have no idea. That was a very very confusing chat there. But anyway, we are back in the game. 5 seconds to go, and this is going to be a tough game for the Brood, but it's going to be fun because it's Brood. All right, we are back in. So let's introduce these teams. As we have Vega on the Radiant, we are going to have Dazzle. Zoom in a little bit. Dazzle is going to be played by Seema the Slayer. Oracle going to be played by Bashu. We have got no one taking the Tidehunter. Tusk currently heading to mid, going to be played by RZQ. Doubt that'll be a mid. Yeah, it's going to be mid Luna, I think. And finally, Luna herself, played by Undershock. Over on the Hehe team, we have got Chen heading to the jungle, going to be played by Spoiler Alert. Did a great job on the Eye of the previous game, so I'm anticipating some very impressive plays by him. Broodmother, good luck, my friend, up against this Phoenix. I'm not even sure what kind of build you go. Going to be played by Yaren Slayer, and fair warning to everybody watching, I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to this lane. Shadow Fiend going to be heading over to the mid, I'm assuming, going to be played by Hua. And we see Radiant trying to do a little bit of a gank into the Dire jungle here. So while I introduce the Dire team, we are going to be keeping an eye on that. Looks like they're going to avoid most of it though. It's very important to do these kind of plays when you're up against a Chen, because you can block up so much of the jungle and just make his life an absolute nightmare. Dazzle is going to spot out the Radiant team here. Sorry, the Dire team. But they're just set up on the top rune. They think this is a normal fight. They don't know there's already 2 Radiant heroes in their jungle. Chen caught by the shards and brought down. That's first blood goes to Vega. No problem at all. And Spook kind of caught out here. Just really wants his rune. Is going to get it, but is almost certainly going to die in exchange. We don't have Lucent Beam on the Luna. I've really got to question that decision. But we are going to have shards up on the Tide. Sorry, on the Husk. On this bastard here. Tusk. Jeez. So first blood going down to Vega. Seems like Radiant have the blessings of the first bloods in this series. So just finishing off the introductions for the wow, Luna is going to suffer here. That's my prediction right off the bat. She needs to rush a lifesteal item very quickly. Juggernaut up on the top lane to finish off the introductions is going to be played by At the Speed of Life, and finally Vengeful Spirit, who we saw briefly in that fracas, going to be played by Spook. Down on the bot lane, Brood versus Tide. This is not really a great lane for Brood, in my humble opinion. Gets the second web down, just in a position really to to dominate the early laning phases. And we do seem to have a bit of a dual lane going on for Vega. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing. I think it's more in the nature of a roaming Tusk. Sorry, WC. So he's just going to be going around, getting pulls off for the safe lane, going for ganks on the mid. And so far, at least, it seems like Dazzle's either doing the same, or possibly we might be seeing a dual mid. Some complaints about the Phoenix. The problems with pausing the game are that the players get to talk to each other, which can cause problems. We've also got Bashu possibly in a little bit of danger here. Just a fraction. Just a fraction. Icarus Dive, absolutely great for escaping for ganks. This is slightly tricky. HWA calling for the start. And running a dual mid. More weights from Vega. Running a dual mid up against the Shadow Fiend. Very, very smart idea. Make sure he keeps the last hits down. Doesn't build up that damage through Stolen Souls. So it's Anchor Smash and Gush for the Tide. Brood having real trouble, even just gaining up a little bit of XP here. This is going to be a really horrible game for Yaren. The ways, I suppose, that they can play it, assuming that nobody else comes into gank with detection, because that would then just be terrible for Yaren. Potential ways of winning the game would be build up a large number of Spiderlings, enough to basically kill Tide before he can kill them all with repeated Anchor Smashes, and then just go nuts on him. Or, as always with Brood, you have the option of just playing it cautious, looking for opportunities anywhere on the map, and just going for towers. You know, the second Tide runs out to do a Ravage somewhere on the map and help out with the team fight, you take the tier 1. The second time he does it, you take a tier 2. And that, I think, is really the only option they've got. The long pauses are long. Requests for what is going on. Gonna have to AFK for a little bit, apparently. Request to know what exactly a bit is, which I think is a valid question. So Chen's jungle really not looking too great right now. This ward, I'm guessing, is just out of range. Guessing these are just out of range of each other. But close. Oh, so close. Lots of Tide scribbling going on. Because why the hell not? And I do apologize for everybody watching on stream. I wish I could give you like more Dota quicker. Helga's obviously interested in exactly what's going on here. And Go Thanks called out. So HWA getting some last hits with razors. It's going to be very useful for him, as he has, I think, come off second on the XP. Oh no, coming off first on the XP. It was one of the other lanes. It was the Broodmother who was suffering a little bit when it came to the experience. And Dazzle on the mid. I'm surprised hasn't been spamming out the poison. Like, it's just, it seems unlikely to me that there would be a need for Shallow Wave this early. I'm not sure whether they needed it for maybe they thought they needed it for that first little fight that led to First Bloods, but it seems like a strange choice to me. The thing that is also kind of scary about Yaren against Tide has got nothing to do with how Tide suffers. How Brood suffers. It's more just the fact that Tide is going to be able to farm very, very effectively, very, very quickly. And we have RZQ comes in with the Sentry Ward. Yaren going to be caught out here, and we have the Snowball. Just manages to stay alive with just enough health. Knows there's a Sentry Ward somewhere though, so he's going to have to play this really, really carefully. Gonna try and sneak back onto her other web, and gonna make it as well. And that was close. That was kind of one gush and you're dead kind of territory. Tusk though, it's a bit risky running this kind of roaming Tusk where you don't really have a lane to call your own. You don't really have any great source of XP. Gonna come back in and try and help on this Broodmother, but doesn't have another Sentry Ward. So they're not going to have the detection for it. Instead, going to try and rotate in on the mid. And with a Haster in, I really think probably should have come in from the back or the side. They do manage to catch Hua in the shards though, and now just going for right clicks. They get the Lunar Stun, they've got the Dazzle Slow as well, and there's the Ice Ball. 3-0 for Vega. And this was always going to be a slightly tougher game for Hehe. They did not get the draft they wanted. And Yaren the Slayer has decided to go for some Spiderlings now. Again, I'm worried about the potential that's going to have of just feeding this Tide last hits. He's doing a decent job of keeping them alive though, while still building up more numbers via last hits.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Chen in the jungle, getting some decent farm on. Looks like they did manage to deward with this sentry ward here. They managed to deward their large camp. This is great for him. Got the red satyr up now, and can farm fairly effectively and happily in the jungle. Good ward placement, by the way. Proper knowledge of the drop boxes. Neither of the dire wards are blocking their camp. And Hua, 9 last hits up against Luna's 23. This is not where you want to be a Shadow Fiend. He's not getting the space he needs to farm. And Luna's actually caught up on levels now as well. Oh my Hehe. Oh my Brood. Two heroes, well, a hero and a team that I really, really love. Proper army Brood now though. Tusk has come back in, gonna get a huge amount of farm for himself, killing these Spiderlings. But Brood not giving up. Wants this tower. Pops of Clarity. I think possibly hoping that she would have enough to get a spawn Spiderlings off on that last creep, but it's not gonna happen. Gonna just immediately go and start moving on the next one though. The next creep wave. So Tide and Tusk have got to make a choice. They can go and fight Brood behind the tower, dealing with her where she wants to fight, or they can try and do the same thing she's doing and skip the creep wave or fight it under tower. But either way, whenever a creep wave, especially one with a catapult, gets close to the tower, they're going to start taking damage. Brood trying to work out what her best play is here. Effectively, they are just exchanging the waves. Brood's going to get the radiant ones. Tide's going to quite happily get the dire ones. When it comes down to a battle of sustain, though, Tide is going to run out of regen faster than Brood is. Does manage to get the invis off in time. Doesn't lose a huge amount of health. There's the gush though, and there's the shards. This is the death for Yaren as he chooses to turn around and unfortunately run back into the sentry ward. And the Spiderlings though still doing a great job of keeping up the lane harass. Brood is going to be able to secure farm pretty much no matter what happens. Got the soul ring up. Boots next, I would imagine, maybe a TP. And this top looks like it might soon be Dire's best chance at actually getting a kill. If Chen rotated in, no, he's going to stick in the jungle for a while longer, even with the double centaurs, which is really a ganking build, or a ganking set of choices. Mech will be out soon on him, going for no items so far. And now that's a wolf. Now combine that with the Shadow Fiend, you've got decent damage. Same with the Juggernaut. Oracle also a hero, sorry, not Oracle, Phoenix also a hero who can effectively ignore the effect of Omni Slash. So while normally you would be saying that as soon as Jug hits 6, which will be in just a little bit more XP, normally you'd be thinking that that's a point at which he can maybe start thinking about getting a kill by himself. Well, that's going to be really hard up against a Phoenix. They are getting a nice stun down here though, followed up by Whirling Death, and it's probably going to be enough. One right click, and there it is. Hehe on the map with a kill for Jug. And rotations on the mid as Hua is gone on by Tusk. Doesn't manage to get anybody with him in the shards though, but manages to get the... Oh wow, that was that an illusion rune from him? It was. So illusion rune is enough to just block people in those shards when done at close range. So unfortunately, we got to say that that kill trade, Phoenix for Shadow Fiend, I got to say probably favors Vega as well. And I say unfortunately for people who weren't here for the first game, because I do confess completely to being a bit of a Hehe fanboy. And the ult from Undershock is popped there for that vengeful kill. Undershock being brought kind of low here, but they do have Shadow Grave within range, and there is the Ice Ward slowing down Shadow Fiend's movement. So this is basically exactly what Vega were hoping to be able to get done. Rotate the Snowball Tusk around, pick up some peeps, roll in, and just get absolutely... and they're doing it again. Hua in real danger here. Do they have enough mana for the shards? They do not, but they don't need it. He was charging up for an ult there, which might have netted them a couple of kills, particularly if they got some rotations in. But not going to happen. Now Yaren is being able to get significant damage down on this bot tower with Tide out of lane. Which is exactly what they need. Oh, there was an opportunity to actually get more spiderlings there with the Soul Ring spawn from Yaren. Didn't quite make it. But Tidehunter, houses farm, got mana boots almost at blink, and we're less than 5 minutes into the game. But now out of mana. Now out of mana and out of regen. This is an interesting point in the game. In terms of how we handle this bot lane. We are seeing Tusk choose to rotate back in, and we're going to be seeing an immediate Ice Shards. I would expect. Their sentry has gone down. Tusk bringing more to lane though. Chen creeps, I think, just looking to scout out what has been a very large stack built up for this Luna here. Always the advantage of putting Luna on the mid lane very, very close to that Dire Ancient stack. And she has got her lifesteal up. I've been a bit slow on the items, apologies for that. I think we should probably look at net worth as well, given the kills, how they've been going. Actually, the net worth certainly in favour of Vega, but not as bad as I was expecting. Juggernaut secured the 2nd place, Barud has the 4th. So we are seeing just 1-1-1-1-1-1 between Radiant and Dire on the net worth chart, and the leads are significant for Vega, but Hehe have a team who can do interesting and amazing things with pushes. So it's by no means game over. Now no backdoor protection on tier 1 towers, so Brood is probably just going to try and right click this down. Tide got all of the health back. Juggernaut finishing off Phoenix up on the top lane. I guess I was wrong in my predictions about the Omni Slash, and we have had Glyph used down here to keep the tower alive for a little bit. Tide is going to be going in here looking for a deny, and pops the Ravage to help him get it. That was interesting. He's going to get the deny though. So if they weren't planning on grouping up for a team fight anytime soon, that was probably worth it. It just surprises me because with the Phoenix ult, I assume is online now. Yes, it is. With the whole plan with the Tidehunter and the Tusk seemed to be to snowball in, pop Ravage, pop the Phoenix ult, pop the Lunar ult, and they just dropped the Ravage, which was the main form of CC, which surprises me. But I'm not going to call it a terrible plan. Brood's still looking to push out this bot lane, so even with the new ability to selectively destroy webs, she's not going to be looking to switch lanes just yet. Has already set up webs in quite a nice V though, which should make for quite an easy transition to the tier 1 mid, if she were to choose to put a couple. If you look at the minimap up around here and here, and we are seeing Radiant rotations in for this Brood now. Now this is kind of a crucial point. If you can force the enemy team as Broodmother to just waste a lot of time hunting for you, it doesn't matter if you get towers or not. Another sentry goes down. Yaren, I hope, aware that with these kind of rotations we will be seeing sentries come down, and a dust. And Yaren is caught but still out of vision, so still able to use webs, and is going to be able to escape from this without too much problem. And that Spiderling going to be food for Tidehunter. Oh no! Caught out by the flying Ice Ward. But the dust wore off. The dust wore off, and we've got a big rotation, this time supported by Chen creeps, going in on the mid. And now we're seeing the split push potential of Hehe. As we do have the Phoenix come out, and there's the ulti. It's going to catch Spook and Hua, guaranteed. Oh, somehow didn't. But we do see Hua go down, the Phoenix goes down. And Chen goes down as well, with his creeps being cleaned up now by the Radiant team. So definitely a trade in favor of Vega, as they get the rotations in time. Brood, though, left alive. And going to be able to exert a bit of pressure on bot lane with those rotations from Vega. Problem is, Tide just isn't a hero she can effectively kill, and Vega now taking a tower of their own on the mid lane. Yaren having some weird clipping errors there with the edge of the webs and the trees. Now going to be going in to make some more spiderlings on this next creep wave, I expect. Anticipating Tidehunter coming round. Knows that Anchor Smash is now off cooldown, but just still looking to mainly push. Not even going to try and get damage, not even harass on this Tide. Oh wow, these creeps are being brought so low. Don't feed the Tidehunter. Yes, got them away nicely. He's been juked and is looking elsewhere. So what this means effectively is a nice built-up wave for Dire, including a catapult, moving up now to the tier 2 tower. That's not a bad trade. Oh, and I missed as well the tier 1 tower going down on top. Well played there from Hehe. They have got a split push team. They're difficult to run, but they are running them. That's about all that can be said right now. And they do seem to be transitioning into mid-game, certainly with a decent amount of effectiveness. They've managed to... Like, Vega's peak was around 5 minutes ago in terms of XP. Same in terms of gold. In fact, Hehe have almost caught up the lead entirely. So they've got to the stage now where, at least in terms of experience and levels, they are leveling at the same rate as Vega. As we get the Tidehunter rotation, we're going to have the Ravage, and there'll be a blink. Ravage. Dire team brought solo. Hua needs to be able to secure some kills to make this worth it. The Juggernaut comes in. Omni Slash used. Tide has nothing, no health, no mana. And we do have a massive initiation here from Tide and from Phoenix. It's caught, spoiler alert. I think he might just be able to make it. No, the DOT is too much. 3 for 3. And Bashu isn't finished with at the speed of life yet. No mana on this Juggernaut, but his movement speed has come back. Oh no, that DOT! That DOT though! That DOT! And Juggernaut is dead from the laser beam. Fire the lasers. In the meantime, on bot lane, and this is what I said would happen whenever Tide rotates out, Brood is putting up the pressure and really just trying to get huge rotations in. Luna is the choice for rotation this time. Given that she's going to get to the stage now where she can start putting in points in Luna Blessing, this is the rotation we can expect to see more and more. It's farm where you want it to go, i.e. the Luna. And although she's slightly squishier than Tide, with a bit of support, she can actually clear it faster than Anchor Smash can. We do have the Spiderlings going in on Dazzle though. Weave is dropped. Question is Dazzle going to be able to time this Shallow Grave right? Does manage to kill all the Spiderlings with a nice Shadow Wave as it passes the Radiant Creep Wave. And now we see the Radiant Heroes rotating in on mid as Shadow Fiend gets almost caught by the shards, but manages to get out fairly easily. Broodmother backs into the jungle. Just going to be farming up a few more Spiderlings, and then I expect returning to the Dire Wave there and looking to get the tier 2 down. There is a regen room which Dazzle had just dropped a ward for, but then somehow didn't pick up. The shards go down, they catch Vengeful. There is the option for a switch, but not going to take it. Would only put her carries in more trouble. Omni Slash goes down, but doesn't manage to catch many. Tusk is the first casualty of this fight. Hehe seemingly in slightly more of a comfortable situation here. The Tide Ravage should be up soon. Vengeful goes down. How long until Ravage? 30 seconds. Brood getting back to work on the Radiant Creep Wave. With the Tide rotation out, with the Lunar rotation out. We're seeing again what Brood can do in an absent lane. Going to be running into Tide in the jungle here. Head straight to the lane. Going to make a bit of movement here. And then skip, it seems. Danger of running into Tusk if she commits too much down the lane. Another sentry goes up. Anchor Smash. Oh! Almost use of Ravage there. They really want to kill this Brood. Like, really, really. I'm not actually sure if Brood is aware of Tusk right now. Creep Wave just gets absolutely murdered. Wow, big sentry goes down, and I don't think Brood was expecting that web to disappear. No, drops another one to make up for it. Anchor Smash getting some farm here for this Tide, and I don't think these trades are worth it for Brood. Yeah, Aaron, I think should have backed out there, let Tide and Tusk waste their time, head into the jungle. Meanwhile, up on top lane, it does look like Radiant have grouped up. We've got the hard carry, the hard support, and the offlaner all making a push on this Dire tier 1 tower. Tidehunter finishes off Vengeful Spirit down on the bot lane. Wondering if Brood is going to be able to maybe pick up a kill in return. No, probably not. We do have the push going down on top. That's going to see a tower for Dire, but a Chen push coming out on the mid lane. Oh, and the Phoenix ulti goes down. Chen wants to go for it. Shadow Fiend doesn't. Better communication needed. Hand of God going to be used to keep those heroes alive. We've got Phoenix still chasing the Chen. Shadow Fiend coming in from behind, in danger himself. Obviously going to have the rest of the Radiant team coming in. Wants to find a good place for the ult. He's found it, he thinks. He wants it. There it is. He gets the Phoenix. Possibly going to lose. Yeah, he dies himself. Vengeful switch out tried to save him. They did manage to pop the Luna ult. Dazzle killed by Juggernaut rotation. Just how much farm does this Juggernaut have? Most on the Dire team for sure. Doesn't have mana for Omni Slash. And that's gotta hurt. Why on earth? I expect went in there thinking he would be able to do Omni Slash, pop the healing ward. and wasn't counting his mana quite closely enough. 4 for 2. And Hehe really are running out of options here. Vega prioritizing nicely as well. With a lot of the Dire team down and still looking to get back into the game, they've got a bit of space now where they can go and invest in killing this brood. She's playing cautious. She knows there'll be something coming. Spots out the Luna on the way in and has managed to deward the sentry here. Pulling back the Spiderlings, spots out the rest of the team coming in as well. So she'll be playing very, very cautious now. Pretty much the only way we're going to see a dead brood here is if she gets very unlucky and caught out by a sentry ward. Or just gets too greedy, which is always a possibility with brood. But we have all 5 Radiant heroes now going down to this Direbot lane. Going to be looking to take the last tier 1. Brood attempting to skip the wave despite Dazzle. Possibly going to go for a kill here actually. Shallow Grave popped possibly a little bit early there by the Slayer. Followed by a TP out though. That's going to make sure that Dazzle can stick around for a little bit longer. Looks like Dire aren't going to commit overly much to sorting out this bot tower. Just going to pop the glyph. Oh, they were trying to sneak a Roche. Unfortunately spotted out. Doesn't look like Radiant have the initiation on them though. And Brood just back to skipping the wave. It's going to be a little bit hard though, now that Radiant have kind of got space of their own, for her to push the wave, because all they've got to do is go and kill a bunch of spiders, and that's it. Oh, Phoenix gets a nice initiation out, but it's the Tusks. It's the Tusk spikes that actually end up catching them, the Vengeful Spirit. The Ravage goes down. Omni Slash out as well, just to make him immune to this Phoenix ult coming out. Oops, again, not enough mana for the Omni Slash. Oh no, Omni Slash already used. Hua looking to pop his ult. He does, but not enough damage. And Hehe looking in real trouble here. The Shallow Grave goes down on Phoenix as well, which is just going to make this even easier for Vega to clean up. Brood arrives in the fight. And doesn't really do much. C'est la vie. Has arrived, has left again. And I think that's also an Aegis. Yeah, Aegis on the Luna. This is really not good for Hehe. Whatever that kerfuffle with the drafts, I think they came off second best. Very, very, very second best. Quick pause coming out from Shadow Fiend. Bit of anger coming out from Hua. Don't entirely blame. I'm not going to ask the admins what went on there because I don't want to make a fuss, but I'm really curious what the hell was going on. How do we end up with Brood versus Phoenix with neither? I don't even know. Apologies for the Phoenix player coming out from the Slayer. As Brood finally, after quite a long time, this is the first time in a while she's actually been in a position to get some tower pushing done, and does immediately manage to force out the glyph. And possibility on Bashu, possibility not. I think that's probably the right choice. Lots of DOT coming out from this Phoenix. We do have these big ass Necro creeps coming out from Brood. Going to make it much easier for her to keep her lane dewarded. Much safer from... Oh, the Weave again? I suppose 40-second cooldown isn't too much, but Vega have just got such a teamfight team. I would have thought that with a lot of the other ults up, they would have been trying to keep that a little bit closer to their chest. Especially with the Luna Aegis, which to me is just like, okay, so we're pushing towers now, right? Group up as 5, sound good? Luna committing to top, supported in the wings by Tusk, as Dice try and secure a little bit more farm for Hua on the mid, and push out bottom. Juggernaut illusions. Oh, forces out the Shallow Grave and the Icarus dive. Not actually sure that Vega realized that was an illusion. Top tower from Dire goes down. Yeah, Luna's getting really scary. I'm thinking if they can kill Luna and dodge the Phoenix ult, Radiant have a good chance. The oh dear, big rotations down onto bot. Yaren not visible as of yet. Big initiation here from Tusk, wants to go down on Spook, gets a stun, tries a TP, forces out the Ravage. I think, again, that might be kind of a good trade. Gotta say, no one is not impressing me with their choices of when to Ravage. Brood just goes back to farming the jungle, nice big army at the moment. wondering whether to go for the small camp. But the problem about the space that Brood is making is it's just not enough. 16,000 now net worth on the Luna. And that's kind of a crazy amount. Kind of a dangerously crazy amount. Let alone the fact that Tide is right behind her. As I said, basically free farm for a Tide going up against the Brood. And you do just need incredible focus to play Brood well. Because if very, very fragile hero, I'd say that's probably her most significant attribute. More than the invis, more than the ski attribute, it's just so fragile. Does manage to skip this creep wave. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to save this Dire tier 2 though. But it looks like he are happy just sacrificing everything on the outside. And they're not doing the one real trick that you kind of have to do with Tide, which is trying to get fights off when Ravage is down. Where's the dust? Where's the something to spot out this Brood? Oh, they don't quite get her anyway, and the ult is popped. Will be up again by the time she well, almost up again by the time she respawns. And Tide popping everything to get this damn ranged Necro unit. So this game going on a little bit, and I got to say, with this kind of lead, we've got to be thinking we're probably going to be seeing a game 3. Which I'm not going to complain about. In fact, I think it'll be kind of awesome. But you can never take your eyes off split push teams too much. And with Chen and Brood, we really haven't been seeing a huge amount out of spoiler alert on the Chen. With Chen and Brood, it's always possible, but it's going to get increasingly unlikely. Dire Courier spotted out there by Tide. He's going to try and join his team as soon as he's able. Where is Hehe's defense here? We've had Weave pop now on the Vega squad, so they're going to have huge armor for this next fight. Undershock getting massive right click damage down on the Dire tower. Hehe are getting in position, but it's way too late, and now we get the real danger of a Luna siege. The fact that the glaives bounce between buildings means that they really should not have let that tower go down. It's now got much harder to get Luna away from their base.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
We do see the Hehe squad assemble, but really it's just in time to watch Vega TP out and wish goodbye to the Dire mid-racks. Possible we're going to see Tusk caught out here by Spook on the Vengeful Spirit. And actually that's a point I hadn't really considered. I can't remember seeing Dire get a proper gank off this game. That's why we're seeing them at 12 and 26. They do manage to get the Tide down. It wasn't really a gank, they just ran into him and responded. But oh, massive switch there from Spook. Not sure what that was about. Switched on Hua rather than any of the Radiant heroes, which would have given them an initiation. And we've got Undershock catching up with Hua. The Shadow Fiend ult is popped, and we don't have... Oh, there's Luna down. Beautiful ulti there from the Juggernaut. All of the damage just proccing just as they need it. But we do have a Cliff Phoenix ult followed by a Ravage, and that's going to kill the Shadow Fiend. Brood looking really low as well, caught out by the lasers and finished off by DOT. But still, a 3-2 trade for Hehe is exactly what they need right about now. Even if it is the kind of 2 supports and a core for 2 of their cores. That's good math. That's good math. Game is paused, this time by Luna on the Vega team. Immediate unpaused coming out from Vega again. Paused again, this time by Tidehunter. Tidehunter apologizing for the pause and resuming. This is pause gaming, ladies and gentlemen. Pause gaming. And we have an E-Blade out on this Phoenix. This is going to be a huge amount of damage. Oh, but Beiju being brought hugely low by Penitence. Wondering if he's actually going to have to retreat here, as a huge amount of harass comes out from the creeps as well. Almost finished off with the Sada, but the rotation from no one is enough. And that's a dead Chen. So even after that last team fight ended 3-2 in Hehe's favour, it's still Vega getting the pickoffs. Now with a Chen in the jungle, obviously just trying to do his own thing, and a Brood on a lane trying to do her own thing, I can appreciate why Hehe are finding it really difficult to get ganking squads together and cut down the Vega cores. But when you're looking at a Luna, and you're looking at this kind of combo, it's what you need to do. I think really, I still don't know what happened in that draft, so it's really hard to say what they should have done, because I don't really know exactly what happened, if that makes sense. But I think the Brood, definitely, I don't know what happened there. I think that was a weird pick, which wasn't exactly a pick. But also the Chen. when you're dealing with this kind of literally snowball face rush with a Ravage and Phoenix Ult and Eclipse, you kind of need to make sure you've got supports in lane ready to help out. Chen is just, well, Chen or any jungling hero is just begging for you to be split up. It's begging for you to have not quite enough heroes, be outnumbered, and against this team that's just suicide. Like if they managed to predict the Dazzle Luna mid, I think a dual mid could have been great for Hehe. But yeah, it's the Phoenix ult which is really turning these fights. I think they can sit through the stun from the Tide. Hehe are capable of doing that, but it's when you put this Phoenix ult from Bashu out on top of that it gets really, really messy. And the Phoenix is the other pick that I'm really not sure what happened there, so that's a bit weird. That's a little bit weird. Dire now pushing up this, Radiant now pushing up this Dire bot lane, and again, it's the kind of push that could easily take a rack, and I don't see Hehe having a huge amount of defense. The tower is just melting. The glyph is popped this time. Chen just seems to be kind of wandering around near top rune, TPing back now. The Tide does have Ravage up and is just looking for the right place to blink, or just walk in. Pops the Ravage. That finishes off Vent from the background. Hua is there though with the ult, and we've got the Omni ult, the Jug ult, sorry, as well. Just needs one more leap to get that Luna. It's not enough again because of that goddamn Phoenix ult. Hua being brought hugely low, but Bashu taking the right clicks now. But Shadow Fiend is finished off. Jug going to be able to finish off Bashu with bashes of his own. Not entirely sure what happened to his Blade Fury there. Seems to be popped and then cancelled, but that's impossible, so I must not be reading this right. And that'll be the end of Jug with a nice anchor smash from Tidehunter. And yeah, cool GG Hehe. I want to say it's not your fault because I don't know what happened in that draft, but this is definitely GG. And without a doubt, well played to Vega. It was a beautiful strat to run, even without the Phoenix pickup, which may or may not have been a bit weird. But even so, absolutely great pickup, particularly with a team that's forced into a jungler like Chen. You zoom in, you Ravage, you pop Anchor Smash, you do whatever else you want. You've got the Dazzle Healing Wave in the early game, and you can just dish out tremendous damage, and they did it perfectly. Well played to Hehe as well. They definitely, whatever happened in the draft, they were outdrafted there, but they played a good game given the heroes they had. Thanks very much everybody for tuning in. Please do follow or subscribe if you're on Twitch or YouTube, and stay tuned for Game 3 of this Best of 3, which I will be bringing you very, very shortly. GG's.